Hello everyone, my name is Deepthi Goguri. Welcome to Festive Tech Calendar 2023. Merry Christmas to one and all and Happy New Year in advance. I am here to talk about Introduction to Azure Purview concepts. So if you are not familiar with Azure Purview, this is a very good introduction to Azure Purview concepts, and this video is going to be released on December 25th. 2023, which is a Christmas, like Merry Christmas Day. I'm so excited. And thank you so much for giving me this wonderful opportunity, especially to the entire team of Festive Tech Calendar. Gregor Sati, thank you so much for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And let's dive in. A little bit about me. I'm a database administrator, having about like 8 years of experience as a DBA, and I'm a data platform MVP and a co-organizer of couple of user groups that you are seeing here. I'm also a volunteer for Data Platform Women in Technology user group as well. And if you have any questions regarding this session later, please do not hesitate to contact me on Twitter or my website over there. You have my email address over there, and I'm very active on LinkedIn. So if you would like to contact me on LinkedIn, that would be awesome. So before beginning, let's talk about something which we are all familiar about: Netflix and the other platforms that you are seeing here. So why did I even put this slide in here, right? We are going to talk about Netflix a little bit today. So, in according to the global platform demand share for all the digital origins, 2021 full year, they actually did this survey where they have um, uh, analyzed how many users population are into Netflix and the other platforms. And if you see clearly, 47.1% of people are on the platform Netflix, and the rest of the things are other platform. Now, how do this Netflix is doing so good when compared with the other platforms? They are doing amazing. Half of the people platform, half of the people are into Netflix, and rest of them are shared by the other platforms. So I'm going to talk about this today, what Netflix actually do behind the scenes to make this possible. So basically Netflix actually uses the post summary information and the reviews of the customers on their platform and their metadata, the data about the data. So the metadata information from all the users and the users from where they are located, where they are coming from, what kind of interest they have, all the metadata information like what kind of categories, content categories that they are looking for, based upon the deep learning techniques. And by collecting this metadata information, they can make very good decisions on how to move forward with the content production. They also analyze the user engagement data to create the content production, like viewing the patterns. What kind of patterns are these users are using, or these customers are using? Whether they are much into drama, romance, or like uh, horror movies or documentaries, or what sort of interest do they have? What are the viewing patterns? By looking at by using the AI tools, artificial intelligence tools, as well as by using the metadata information to look into the audience demographics, where they are located, where they are coming from. Because culturally, each culture might be interested in couple of content, some of the content, right? And where does the actual population coming from, and what are those similar interests are? Populations related to specific demographics might have the similar interests. What are those interests? All these information is um, useful to make the decision making in allocating the budgets to the proper projects, to build the new projects. Where should the business spend the money on? And They can even predict the success or failure even before producing the content, because they know the interest um, of their audience. They know the interest of their customers based upon all the metadata. And data is everywhere. If you come out of the Netflix for a moment, if you see the data itself, we have data everywhere, and we are not throwing away the old data. We are still keeping them in the data centers. So just imagine we are building the new businesses day by day, and all the data is located everywhere, because we build the multi, you know, we have companies everywhere. We have branches everywhere. Netflix is everywhere. In every single country, we have Netflix. So data is everywhere. We have too much data, too much movie content, too much, um, too much of production with documentaries and stuff. There is a lot of data, lot of information needs to be gathered about the customers. So the data is distributed everywhere, not only on-prem, but also it is across the environments, hybrid, on-prem, SaaS sources. Because Netflix do not only use SQL Server, they also use the other platforms. And there may be regulations that each country needs to follow. In some countries, some content should not be played. In some countries, certain content can be played. So then they have to have those regulations in place. And different users, different roles within the company, like data scientists, data engineers, data developers, CEOs, CIOs, database administrators. Everybody needs to have a way to look into the data for for working on their jobs. Everybody job is different, right? CEO have a different job when compared with the data engineer. Data engineer need more information, in-depth information about the data and the standard of the data, the quality of the data. But when we come to the CEO, all he needs to know is how the data look like, how many customers did we have, what is the revenue that we built from the last year, how much money did we make, and based upon that, where should we put the money for the next year into the content production, those sort of things. But everybody, all of this information can be gathered with the data, with the metadata. So that's when the Microsoft Purview can come in place, because if you see, data is everywhere. It is very difficult to collect the business information to know if the data that we have is, first of all, quality data, that it is not distributed everywhere, that we have like standards within the data, with the data that we are looking into, and if everybody that is working with the data have enough permissions, enough right people having the right permission, not more, not less, but the right permissions, whether they are able to access the data, whether the data is quality data. One thing is, the only one part is discovering the data, but after discovering the data, how are we using that data, the discovered metadata? Do we have any classification? How do we classify the data based upon the sensitivity information? Can we do that? Yes, we can do that with Purview. It is basically using the open source, add more types to open the add more types to the open source Apache Atlas. Apache Atlas is an open source platform that the Microsoft Purview uses. So if you do not have any data source that you cannot use currently, you can go ahead and manually work with the okay, so my headphones are connected a different way. So I'm going to I'm going to talk. I just want to make sure I'm still using the my headset. I don't know, for some reason my headset is a little bit. Don't know whether it is using the actual. I just want to make sure whether I just want to check whether I'm still using the headset. Yeah, I'm still using. So let me go ahead and continue. So so as a base, this is just an overview of like Microsoft Purview. So basically, as a the baseline, the bottom layer, right? The bottom layer of the Microsoft Purview is the data map. Data map is a platform-based approach. The data map is a platform at the base. If you see, it is a base layer in the Microsoft Purview. So there are multiple scanners within the Microsoft Purview that will go ahead and scan the multi-data estates, wherever they are, whether they are on-prem or in Azure. This data map will basically collect the metadata information, like, for example, the column name, column type, description, and also the lineage information, like how is our data being transformed while it is moving from one place to the other place, like the ETL processes, like the Power BI processes. It will show the end-to-end lineage, which will really help us understand the root cause analysis. Like if you are having an issue with your Power BI report, or whether your ETL process is not working properly, you can check where your data is coming from, and whether the data type has changed or anything else changed, and how do you correct it. And if you want to change the data type, whether you want to touch the metadata, you'll be knowing where the data is being consumed, so that you will know where it will be affecting if you change the data, metadata, I mean. And then you can also classify the data, where you can use the classifiers across the different domains, like for example the security, and you can have the important information like SSN, like the ID card, government ID card information, those sort of information. You can classify that information, the PII data, and you can also label the data. Like you can specifically label the SQL columns, um, which is especially in the Office ecosystem, but also they added the into the SQL columns as well. You can actually um, uh, protect the information by using the labels, as well as the business metadata. You can actually build the business layer on the top of this metadata information, so that the CEOs and CIOs can use the data to see how much of a revenue they are making, um, how much of how many customers were added from the previous company, from the previous year, those sort of things. And then by using this data catalog one step above the data map, once you discover this information, now you can use this particular data catalog. By using the data map, you can easily go ahead and browse and search the information in the data map. You can also share the data. When you are sharing the data, you're not multiplying the data into different places, but only at the central location from the purview itself, you are sharing the data, so that the other people can view. The data sharing is in the preview mode. And when you see the data estate insights, this is where the CEOs and CIOs, most of the people, they can know the health of the data estate, and they can look into the insights, um, how the data is being distributed across the data estate, and the quality of it. The data engineers, the data developers, data scientists, everybody needs to everybody needs to have the access to these insights, how the data and what the data is looking like. And the policies, usually the security policies are airbag, role based access control, But by using the data estate, we can actually create the attributes of the data by giving the access based upon the PII data, based upon certain classifications and policies as well. You can build your own policy. And within the Azure and SQL Server space, Azure Synapse Analytics, SQL Server, Power BI, Azure SQL, Microsoft 365 platforms will will use that can be used by the Microsoft Purview, and different data sources within and outside of Azure can be used to connect to the Microsoft Purview. So to build that, we need to first create the Microsoft Purview account. Very simple, by giving the subscription, resource group, location, account name, and then give the managed resource group name, and then click on create. Deployment is in progress. Deployment is complete. Once you create the Microsoft Purview account, go to the integration runtime. Now, why I showed the integration runtime is because I want to show you how we can connect the on-prem SQL Server, and so that we have to build the integration runtime. Click on self-hosted in new integration runtime. Click on continue. Give it the name. Click on create. So once you click on create, um, it will give you the authentication key. Copy one of these authentication keys and click on the download and install integration runtime, which will take you to a Microsoft Purview integration runtime page where you can download. Once you click on download, it will give you the different file formats, different files. Click on the latest one. I clicked on the latest one, latest integration runtime, execution file. Click on download. And then once you download it on the on-prem server where you want to connect to your Microsoft Purview to, from Microsoft Purview, we are trying to connect to the on-prem server. On that on-prem server, you need to install this runtime configuration manager. And while doing that, go to the diagnostics and also try to log in, try to test the login. So here, one thing you need to observe is like server name is computer name vac SQL Server named instance name. If you see, I put double vac. If you do not put double vac over there, you will get an error. Even by providing the authentication type, here I'm using the SQL authentication, ID and password, and hit on test, which will make sure it is connecting properly. And then use the authentication key, one of the authentication keys from here while setting up the integration runtime on-prem. Once you create that, integration runtime is shown in the Purview account clearly, which is with the status of running. And then once you go to the Azure Purview, I have built certain collections and I have built the data sources. I will show you this in the demo, but for now, let's see how to register the on-prem SQL Server. Click on register. Register on the collection. I will show you how to create the collection. Collections are like just creating the names where you can put all of these data sources into that collection. It is just a name. Go ahead and click on register. Click on SQL Server in the data source. Give the data source name, server endpoint, collection. What's of a collection? And then server endpoint. Okay, click on register. And then now we'll go ahead and click on scan. So while scanning, you need to give the integration runtime that you have created on-prem, and then give the name of the database and then credential. So credential, I have this particular credential already created on this on-prem SQL Server as a SQL authentication. But then I will also show you how to create a new credential if you do not have one, and how to save that credential in the secret within the key vault. I will also show you that. So click on continue for now. We have the credential in place. I will click on all the tables that I would like to scan. I'll click on everything, click continue. Use the default scanner rule set I used, but you can also create a new scan rule set. I'll just use the default, click on continue, and I would like to only run once. As this is my demo, I would like to run the scan once, but you can also um, do this recurring with the date and time of a week. Click on continue, and then this is all the information that you have been selecting. Click on save and run. So here we have seen the SQL authentication Deepthi, which I have already created, but right now I would like to show how to create a new credential. Click on new, and I have given the username, but then you need to either select the key vault connection or create a new key vault. I'm going to create a new, give the name of the key vault, and then um, copy the managed identity name purview account 9 here, so that this account need to have the permission to the key vault so that it can go ahead and grab the secrets from the key vault. For that, we need to have certain permissions. First, I gave the reader permission, which did not work. So I had to add other permission as well to get the secret from the key vault. So copy that account, go to the key vault account and then access control, add role assignment, click on that, and then give the reader permission to the purview account 9, and then review and assign. So again, come back to the new key vault location, give the key vault name, click on create. Now we'll go ahead and save that secret into the key vault. Underneath the secret of the key vault, go to generate and import, and then just create that secret that you have been just created. On-prem user, SQL authentication user and password. Click on create. But then I identified that I do not have enough permissions to run the scan. So I had to give the key vault administrator role for myself first. So I have given that. And also, um, I had to give the key vault data access administrator permission to the purview account because it did not work with just a reader. So I had to elevate the permission and then click on review and assign. Now I will go ahead and do the test connection, which is successful. I hit continue. And then right now at this point of time, I just choose one table, click on continue, do the scan with rule set, default rule set, continue. I would like to scan just once. So I clicked on once, click continue, and then do the scan and run. And then this is the on-prem user that I have been built within the keyboard. And then I'm using that secret. So I have couple of multiple slides over here, which I already explained it to you. But let me go ahead and share my demo right now by using the Purview account directly. Now, if you see here, right? So first we need to go to the resource group. Purview test is the resource group where I put the Purview account. So this is a Microsoft Purview account, Purview account name. So I opened up the Purview account. This is the Purview account. If you see, I want to open up the Purview governors portal where you can manage everything from here and see the lineage and then the data, schemas, everything. So this is the way you can see this is the Purview account, Microsoft Purview account. This is the account name. And then currently I have 3 sources, 146 assets and 1 glossary term. I would like to show you. First go to the data map. In the data map, the first thing you have to do is go to collections. And then Here, the collection is easy. You have to just I have created the three collections, but the collection itself is easy. Right click and new sub collection. Give the name, description, and the collection admin's name. You can just put my any person that act as an admin and then click on OK. But these are the ones where you can go ahead and build. These are just like a containers. Collections are like the containers where you will put the data sources. So once you create these collections, go to the data sources so that they will show up. The Purview account will show up the storage account, SQL, and Azure Data Factory collections that we have built. And then if you see here underneath the SQL, I have connected to the SQL on-prem, which I showed you in the slides, um, slide by slide screenshot. And also I connected to the Netflix Azure SQL database. And also I connected to the data lake storage. Now, if you see the Netflix, right, view details, you can see all the scans that I have been done. If you see the scan, the discovered assets, classified assets, and scans are two. I can go ahead and open this. And this is the scan that got completed. And you can see all the information when it is being completed and all of them. Now, once you see, um, you can see all the other information over here. If you see so these are the data sources, right? This is a map. So you can go ahead and scan these. So if I go to the scan button, um, just give me a minute. I would like to share the browse button over here. If you want to search on any table or the metadata information of any database that's in the catalog, you can go ahead and search for it, and you will see all the assets, like um, all the data catalog which is related to the product will show up over here, all the tables. And if you click on one of the table, this is a glossary item where you will now actually glossary is nothing but the naming convention where you can define um, your items, define and then give it the acronym if you want, and then you can also relate them to the assets. So it is related to the product table. The catalog is directly related to the product table. We can do that. So business assets, if you see the business assets, we have customer data business asset. It is nothing but description, glossary terms, and then if you want to manage, if you want to uh, connect them to the any specific domains, you can do that, and then you can give the contact information, who is the owner. If you have any specific data, you can actually assign those um, assets to this particular um, business asset, and then give the owner and then stewards and then expert information, and how is it related to. We can also do that. I'll go to the data catalog. So we talked about get data catalog, how to search for any items. Now let's go to the data map, and and you can see the any shared resources that you have, integration runtimes that you have been built to connect to the on-prem SQL server, right? So you can also build this is in the preview mode, asset types. If you go to the data estate insights, you will see all the data information, collected information in the preview account. So curated meaning like 0% curated, I understand. Not curated meaning like we did not define any classifications on the top of it. Partially curated meaning like you created the glossary items, you created the classifications on the top of it, those sort of thing. And owner assigned, green shows the owner assigned, and no owner assigned. There are no owners on these all assets. And what is the health of the data asset is state? Are there any classifications? Yeah, table classified, uniquely classified. You can see all the classifications, view details of the classifications. The classification category is personal and government. If you see the category, so all full names, full name, addresses, date of birth, and email address will come under the personal category. I did not build this one. The automatic categories have built that one by scanning by scanning the tables of our databases. US state name, US zip code for world cities all come under the government classification. It has automatically built that for us. Any sensitivity labels that it have been built. There are no sensitivity label currently. Any glossary items, and that is what it is. And if you have the data policies, I would like to go to the data policies. Data policies. We can create the data policy. We can specifically create the data policy here. It's in the preview mode. We can use the default policies or you can build the new policies. It's a preview feature. And the management is where you can actually connect to the data factory. From the data source, if you go to the data catalog, you cannot data map, sorry, you cannot connect anything to the data source, because like if I click on register, right, and try to register the data factory, you cannot see here, cannot see anything. But to do that, to especially connect to the Azure Data Factory to the Purview, go to the management within the Microsoft Purview, go to the data factory and try to register the data factory over here. If you see, I have registered this particular data factory. You can either register from here by clicking on the new, give the Azure subscription, right? Microsoft Azure, and then select the data factory. This is the only one I have. So, and then register from me. But you can also register from the data factory itself. If you go here, go to the properties. If you see here, somewhere in here, you can actually connect to the launch studio. Go to the launch studio of the Azure Data Factory. And you can actually go to the manage, and then in the manage, you can have the Microsoft Purview. You can actually uh, go ahead and register this Purview account by clicking on edit. You can see like this is a resource ID, and then I registered, which will automatically pop up. This is the account name of the Purview. And then currently the data lineage pipeline is connected, meaning like it will automatically do the lineage, it will automatically create the lineage, which will clearly show it in the Purview account. Now let's go to the Purview account to actually see if it is showing something. So here I would like to go ahead and look at the data map, um, monitoring, not monitoring collections. No. data catalog, browse assets. If I browse assets by source type, you see the Azure Data Factory. I click on Azure Data Factory. This is the Azure Data Factory that got connected. And if you see the pipeline, copy data one pipeline we have, and the data lineage information is actually shown here. If you see how the data is being transferred, what is happening within the Azure Data Factory. The employee table data is pushed into the copy data task, and it is copied uh, into the data lake storage Gen2 path onto the text file. If you see, it has copied the data into the text file. That is how you can see the lineage information and the contacts information, right? You can mention the experts and who is the owner of this, and then properties of this, like when did the what is the row count, what is the data size, what is the qualified name, and everything. So you can see the Azure Data Factory information as well. You can also connect to the Synapse information as well. And if you see the managed glossary, we have talked about the glossary information. Like if you see this particular product glossary, business glossary is related to the product table. If I click on that, this is the, if I click on edit, right, you can build the term name, and then glossary name. If you have any acronyms, you can give. I have given it as an item. Contacts, who is responsible for this particular um, glossary data, this particular data, product data. You can give the information. And as an overview, this is a glossary item where you can actually build that glossary items into the business assets. Actually, if you see here in the business assets, if you see the contacts, I have built the contacts. And then as an overview, if you edit, you can clearly see the glottum. I have chosen the glossary term as product for the product, and then save. And then if you see, if you want to, building a glossary doesn't actually help, but you need to, it will only give you the sense of like who is the owner of that particular glossary, but how do we connect our assets to that particular glossary? So if you go to the Purview account, search for the product, it will open up the product table, right? SQL table product. If you see here, it is actually having the contacts, properties. You can actually um, build the, you can actually edit this one and have the glossary term mentioned in here. Product is the glossary term I already mentioned. So glossary term is linked up to the product table. The glossary product is linked up to the product table. If you see the lineage, if you have any lineage, it will show. For the product table, we have all the schema information mentioned. And how is this table related? Whom do we need to contact? The contact information. And how is this related? So from the SQL Server 2022 on-prem, from the AdventureWorks 2022 database, we have this production SQL schema. And in that, we have these many tables, and we have a product table as well. If you open the product, it will clearly show you all the schema, all the table schema and information, properties and everything. So that is how you can actually um, you can actually build the Microsoft Purview account. Now I would like to go ahead and show you the references of where you can go ahead and get more valuable information about the Microsoft Purview. I have followed these resources to create this presentation, but I would like to really wanted you to go ahead and look into all of these resources for more information. And I would like to thank one and all for taking your time and listening to this session. I hope you learned something new, and I would like to wish you all happy holidays once again and happy new year in advance. And I would like to thank you to the festive calendar 2023 and all the organizing team, including Gregor Sati and the team. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much.